Transport Minister Anthony Loke has granted e-hailing drivers a reprieve, extending the deadline for complying with new regulations to October. Today was supposed to be D-Day for drivers to obtain their public service vehicle license, passenger insurance, e-hailing sticker and vehicle permit. However, the majority of e-hailing drivers have yet to comply, with Grab revealing that only 10% of its 200,000 active drivers have obtained their PSV license. Loke said today that his officers will still be enforcing the new regulations, but with a softer approach. From now until October, drivers caught without the necessary license and permit will be advised to comply with the rules and let off with a warning. Less than 18,000 e-hailing vehicle permits have been issued, and less than 22,000 have passed the PSV tests to date. E-hailing drivers previously requested for more time to do the necessary, complaining that the training module to obtain the PSV license was only introduced on April 1st, and that the 200 over driving institutes in the country were unprepared to handle the large number of drivers. A total of 925.1 million ringgit of 1MDB linked funds have been returned to the government so far, aided by efforts of local and foreign authorities. Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng says the sum comprises 805.8 million ringgit that came from the US, 92.3 million from Singapore and 27 million from local sources. It does not, however, include proceeds from the 527 million ringgit sale of the equanimity to Genting, Malaysia. Lim explains that the money from the sale is in a sheriff's stakeholder account at a law firm in Malaysia to reconcile upkeep expenditure for the yacht, which will be determined by a court order. After the total expenditure is deducted, the remaining funds will be deposited in either 1MDB or the Finance Ministry's recovery account in August 2019. Lim says the authorities will continue to work on recovering more funds in order to repay 1MDB's debt of more than 51 billion ringgit, inclusive of future interest on loans guaranteed by the federal government. Digi.com saw first quarter net profit climb by 2% to 392.4 million ringgit on deferred tax over provision, which helped mitigate lower revenue and the higher depreciation and amortization incurred in the period. The telco provider also saw lower expenses, driven by its efficiency initiatives and supported by the absence of a 40 million ringgit restructuring cost. Revenue slipped 4.3% to 1.55 billion ringgit. It declared a second interim dividend of 5 cents per share. For the 6-month period ended June 30th, its net profit was 4.7% lower at 734 million ringgit, while top line shrank 6% to 3.1 billion ringgit. Digi says the slower data revenue growth from prepaid, challenged by prolonged intense data competition, coupled with effects from regulatory changes in interconnect rates and continued decline from legacy mobile services, trimmed overall growth trajectory. It revised its guidance for service revenue and EBITDA growth for 2019 to a low single-digit decline, although it does see improving sequential performance for the second half. Kenanga Investments Bank has classified Malakoff's acquisition of Khazanah National's 40% stake in Malaysian Shuaibah Consortium as a good buy. Its analyst, Tay Kian Yong, upgraded the recommendation on the company to outperform from market perform. He also raised the target price to 1 ringgit from 90 cents, a 12% upside from the counter's closing price of 88 cents today. To recap, Malakoff is doubling its effective stake in the consortium, which owns stakes in power and water plants in Saudi Arabia for $70 million. Tay believes the purchase price is fair. With this acquisition, he says Malakoff will command a total effective power generation capacity of 6,708 megawatts from 6,600 megawatts currently, and total effective seawater desalination capacity of 544,375 cubic meters per day from 420,925 cubic meters per day. This will boost the company's bottom line by 18%. It will also address the issue of filling up the earnings gap left by the expiry of PD Power's PPA extension and tariff cuts at Segari Energy Ventures. The National Registration Department has denied allegations it was involved in Project IC 2.0 in Sabah and says the receipt that has gone viral on social media networks was not the department's official receipt. In a statement today, the NRD said the receipt for the registration of identity cards, which is being circulated, is not the one it uses for registration purposes. It also stressed that the NRD has never appointed any agents or individuals to represent it in any dealings. It added that all official receipts of the department are only issued to clients who have dealings at the NRD counters and are not easily issued to the public. The department is currently investigating the claims.